stage.
Yes.
Soon we will be there to take over the world.
We're imperialists here.
All right, so we've got Spanishiwa spawning as our yellow Zerg over on the right-hand spawn. The map is Shattered Temple. His opponent over yonder and across the little pond is going to be Complexity's Trimaster, and he will be our green Terran.
Dude, I got this, man. Make some noise for Trimaster! And if you guys are here for Spanishiwa, make some noise for Spanishiwa! There it is.
That's why he's our hype man. He's got this. Now, what do you think we're going to see out of these two players this game? We saw in game one, Trimaster went for that really early timing push.
Yeah.
Game two, he was going to do something similar, but completely messed it up and changed his game plan up on the fly, which is actually really impressive to me. I can't believe he got away with that and crawled back into the game and was able to take it in the macro game.
Well, if we look at that game again, certainly a lot of that came down to Spanishiwa fearing that two-base mass marine attack, and that's why he didn't produce that many drones. And I feel like if Spanishiwa had just droned up, took a ret approach to the game, had 75 drones, had 3 or 4 bases, I feel like he could have ran away with that.
Pulled a machine on him, or a ret, or an Idra.
Or an Idra.
What have you. Macro
90%
Zergs
of the Zerg
galore.
players out there.
Yeah, I mean, that is a style of Zerg that a lot of times, especially if they're given that much breathing room, with Zerg, I feel like you have to take advantage of a player giving you that much breathing room.
Yeah.
If you're not, you're really just not playing into Zerg's strengths. But then again, I also understand the Zerg philosophy where, players play a rather timid style. If they're afraid of a push, they overproduce units. Then when the Terran eventually pushes, you can just crush his push, shut it down, and then you're free to drone after that. So it's like two different mental approaches to the style. Some people like to drone up as much as possible, produce units at the very last minute.
Yep.
Some people like to overproduce army, crush a push from a Protoss or a Terran, and then they feel free to drone up behind that.
July Zerg style, man.
Yeah, July Zerg, one of those players. Yeah, he uses aggression to allow himself to drone, and I love watching his style. I mean, he's just a very good player.
A unique approach to the game from a Zerg player's perspective, and I think a lot of Zerg players now are starting to try to approach the game with that kind of mindset, but it is very difficult to do because not only are you macroing at home, but you're also attacking abroad.
Yeah.
Something that Zerg players aren't very used to.
Yeah, generally you will see one style or the other, and July, one of those players that can mix both the styles so well. Now, we do see this Reaper opening again from Trimaster, which is kind of interesting because, you know what? I think Trimaster might actually be doing the exact same build, but executing it properly this game. I mean, we'll have to see, but he opened with the Reaper once again, and everything thus far is exactly the same as what we saw on Shakuras.
And he's definitely not going to lift off that barracks this time.
Hopefully he doesn't.
Yeah,
we'll have to see.
That was a crucial mistake. I mean, if he had stem so much earlier, he could have pushed out and done a lot of damage. Trimaster going right into that command center, reveals it at the front door, so if any units runs in there up the ramp, it'll see that CC coming up. And yeah, Trimaster's going for a Marine this time, following the first Reaper, so not going to have 2 Reapers on the field. And we have a little bit of game of cat and mouse here with the Reaper trying to get to that high ground, but Spanishiwa has been all over that since game number 2. He's very good with positioning the Zerglings in anticipation of the Reaper hopping up.
And I feel like a lot of Zergs are now at this stage of StarCraft 2. I mean, they've been dealing with it for so long since the early beta days. They know exactly where to position their lings, and it's very hard to do any kind of significant damage, but this Reaper already has 4 kills, and he might actually get a few more here. Gonna start working on those drones, and there we go. A 5th kill, takes out an additional drone right there, and boom.
So he kills off about 3 or 4 Zerglings and 1 or 2 drones, so
not a big deal.
Not too bad. Yes, Zerg players have been used to dealing with abuse for a very long time.
So I was completely wrong, by the way. Trimaster doing a completely different build. He's already lifted off the original racks, and he's put a factory there. So he's going to get either very early siege tanks or very early blue flame. And if I had to guess, I would say it's going to be early Hellions. There's the first Hellion right now. He might just be getting 1 Hellion out for scouting purposes, then transitioning into tanks. I don't know. We'll have to see. But he's also got a starport coming.
Now, Spanishiwa didn't see the factory coming up, but he's still building a Roach Warren anyways. Now, a lot of times when Zerg players build that Roach Warren, it's for one of 2 purposes, one A or B. Either they're producing a couple of Roaches just to deal with Hellions in case, or they're going for that Roachling attack.
Oh, I don't think it's going to be Hellions. He was just getting the 1 Hellion for scouting purposes, and now he's going to start producing tanks. Now, it's very interesting that he has this early starport. I'm not sure what he's going to use that for. Is he going to get a quick medevac here and try and drop some Marines into the mineral line. Keep in mind, you know, his Marines have no upgrades right now. There's no stim, there's no combat shield. I feel like that starport might have been dropped a little bit early. Not sure if he can utilize that. No, he's actually going to get a Banshee here.
And it's totally revealed at the front door here. If a Zergling runs in, it's going to see that starport and tech lab.
So he's essentially built one of every unit here. He built a Hellion off the factory, got a tech lab, built a tank,
1-1-1
lifted it
against the Zerg,
and took that tech lab position, and now he's going to get this Banshee, but he's actually supply blocked really hard once again at 38, and it seems like 38 is not Trimaster's lucky number, because that's the second game in a row that he has supply blocked himself so hard. We have 3 depots going up right now, and that Banshee just going to be delayed by, you know, a minute and a half.
And Spanishiwa, man, is all over this. He saw the initial factory with the tech lab and the starport in construction because it was right in frontal view. He's already got spore crawlers down, 1 at the main and 1 at the natural. Now, noted the 1 at the main isn't exactly in the best position to defend the back of the mineral line, but he's got queen support as well. I think Spanishiwa is going to be all prepared for this build, and now we have a bunch of barracks coming down for Trimaster all at the front, so we've got a mini wall of China going on here.
Trimaster's builds are very interesting. I haven't been able to make sense out of it yet. I mean, he's all over the place right now. He has Cloak coming as well. He has no tech labs on his racks. His Stim and Combat Shield are going to be so late. We don't have an engineering bay. No early upgrades coming out of him. So he's certainly not playing a very macro-oriented style right now. But then again, he dropped an early command center. He has his natural up and running. I think he's going to try and surprise Spanishiwa with the Cloak here. But I mean, he's investing so much in these Banshees. I really don't think that it's going to pay off. And also, his Stim and Combat Shield are going to be very, very late. He's not going to be able to apply the kind of pressure that he would want. And once again, he is giving the entire field to Spanishiwa. He's giving him so much breathing room. He's letting Spanishiwa play his game, do what he wants to do. We'll have to see if Spanishiwa is able to capitalize on it this game.
Yeah, I was going to totally point that out, man, because in the last game, Trimaster gave it to Spanishiwa, and Spanishiwa didn't exactly capitalize on it. He played a very scared game against a Terran, and it didn't work out too well for him. This time around, though, I think Spanishiwa realizes that Trimaster is a little bit behind and set back with that starport, getting that Banshee out. The Banshee now flying in 2 cloaked Banshees here, and if Spanishiwa can hold off these 2 cloaked Banshees, then Spanishiwa knows he's way ahead, and he can just expand at will and play a very long macro game.
Well, I mean, he only has 1 Spore Crawler right now, and it's being forced to relocate here. There goes the Overseer. It is up. He's going to have to get out of here with these 2 Banshees. They have 5 and 3 kills respectively. I don't think that really warrants the cost invested here. If he gets some additional kills, though, it might be worth it. Spanishiwa actually attacking his Spore Crawler with the Queen. The Queen must be very angry at that Spore Crawler, even though they're working together towards a common goal, which is killing that Banshee, and it only has 28 hit points left, down to 11. Boom. So 1 Banshee is still alive over at the gold, and it will deny the 3rd and head back home.
You know what? I don't know if Trimaster's build here, but going with that starport and Banshees has really been that cost-effective. Yeah, he killed off some drones here or there. Yeah, he forced Spanishiwa to scramble and defend against that, but I don't think it was any kind of crucial damage that really warranted the cost. And Spanishiwa now should really think about grabbing expansions, macroing hard. This hatchery, unfortunately for him, was delayed by that Banshee that flew in and picked off the drone, but if Spanishiwa is on top of his game right now, he should realize that those starports and those Banshees really set the Terran player back.
Yeah, and Spanishiwa just kind of building up a huge army right now, but this is sort of the same mistake that he made in Game 2 on Shakuras. Right now, you see Trimaster ahead 52 to 45 harvesters. If we bring the income tab up real quick, that's not the position you want to be in at the 12-minute and 30-second mark when you've essentially shut down his Banshee play. And forced him to invest all that money in Banshee. He's not really doing the damage that he wanted. You should be ahead considerably.
Spanishiwa should realize, and I'm just going back on my old point, he should realize that those cloaked Banshees delayed Stim and Combat Shields for a very significant amount of time. And if we look, it's 13 minutes in and Stim is not even halfway done yet. So really, Spanishiwa doesn't need to invest in all these Lings and Banelings on the map. And if he is going to invest in all these Lings and Banelings, he should attack with them. He should delay the 3rd of Trimaster. He should make something happen with them rather than having them run around, and it doesn't seem like he knows what he wants to do with it.
Well, you know, he's using them to defend this Banshee.
Oh, yes.
Banshees can fly, and that makes things difficult. Now, this Banshee will get taken out here by this Spore Crawler unless the Banshee just solos it, which would have been
Not gonna happen.
ridiculous. So finally the Banshees are cleaned up. Spanishiwa can settle down a little bit here. Oh no, there's still one on the field with 2 hit points, which has 10 kills now. So the Banshees have thrown a little bit of a wrench in Spanishiwa's machinery here. He's kind of stifling him up. And Spanishiwa is just allowing Trimaster to take his third freely. Going to get the Planetary Fortress up there, virtually unharassed. And, you know, Trimaster is able to do what he wants throughout the game while harassing Spanishiwa at the same time. And Spanishiwa has essentially done nothing he wants. He's not imposing his will. He's not imposing his game plan on Trimaster at all.
Well, Spanishiwa's game plan is going to be a little delayed. I think he's going to be going for Vengeful Sacks and drop here. And I kind of like that strategy. He's got so many Lings on the map, and he's got Muta support as well now. He can definitely drop the backside of Trimaster's main, flood those Lings in, and try to do some damage. Now, the Terran player is a lot less mobile than the Zerg player is, so it can definitely do some damage to Trimaster. But right now, Trimaster is sieging up in the middle of the map very methodically. He's going to use his tanks as ground support to cover the tanks on the high ground and Marines as well. And there's a counterattack coming in for Spanishiwa at the same time Trimaster's doing this, and this is how Spanishiwa won the first game. So we'll have to see how much damage he can do here.
It is. Trimaster just not very good at dealing with those counterattacks. He doesn't have units in position. He's going to have to bring back everything here. He will be able to clean this up, but he is taking quite a bit of damage. He's down to 34, 33, 32 SCVs, taking SCV losses left and right. Those tanks did get cleaned up. They were forced to pull back, and he lost one of them to those Mutalisks, so things looking pretty good for Spanishiwa now. He just did a ton of damage right there, and next time Trimaster moves out, he needs to be very careful about establishing himself as he moves across the map. This is a mistake that we've seen him make before. He doesn't get his infrastructure set up to deal with the potential counterattack, and he makes his move too quickly, and then he takes a ton of damage.
This is flying in here, going to try to pick off that turret, but the SCV is going around to repair that as well. Spanishiwa right now should be very careful about the impending Terran push. Anytime you do a lot of damage to a Terran player like that, killing off his entire economy, you have to watch out for that all-in push from Trimaster, which it looks like he's doing right now. He is in a desperate situation in terms of economy. He has to push and do some kind of damage, and I hope that Spanishiwa has been
Here
a lot
we
of units,
go.
and he has
This could
been.
be it. Oh, Spanishiwa
False
pulls
alarm.
back right there.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to have anything to do with those 4 tanks that just sieged up in mid. And keep in mind, Trimaster is on creep right now. This is a very precarious situation for him. He needs to get rid of some of these creep tumors. There we go. Drops the scan. Gonna start working those down. The Muta's coming in from behind here. Gonna pick off, almost pick off a Banshee. And they're gonna try and work down those reinforcements and cut off the supply lines for Trimaster.
Very smart play right here from Spanishiwa, moving Mutalist to pick off the reinforcement line. That's going to keep that Terran Bio Ball to a somewhat manageable size, but it looks like Trimaster is going to move down to the 6 here Pain User and may have access. He's going to siege up all of his tanks as well. Is Spanishiwa going to go for the counter here? He really doesn't have that many Banelings, which makes me think that he's not going to have enough to deal with the Marines, which right now are spread out. A lot of Mutalisks though flying in, picking off a couple of wayward Marines in the front. Spanishiwa is poised to crush this Terran army, and if he does, then he is going to win this series.
Trimaster needs to be very, very careful here. Spanishiwa getting everything together to make his eventual move. He's being very patient right now. He's just waiting to max out. He's adding additional Zerglings in. He's doing whatever damage he can with his Mutas.
And here
he
we go! It looks like Spanishiwa gets a full-on surround on those siege tanks, and the Mutalisks and Banelings are going to kill off all those Marines, and Spanishiwa wipes out that Terran force with impunity. I don't see Trimaster getting back into this. However, he does have that third man. He has the gold.
He also has that 4th orbital that hasn't yet been relocated to the top left-hand corner, and he was macroing up behind that. But, you know, one thing he does have going for him was that he took out that 4th base, but Spanishiwa took his 5th at the exact same time, and now taking his 6th. So he is expanded to virtually every position on his side of the map. And he's just going to go into absolute beast mode here. He's adding macro hatches in the middle of the map here at his gold. Going to do some Mutalisk harass here at the main. And he certainly has enough Mutas to the point where he can start knocking down individual turrets and really, really messing up the infrastructure for Trimaster, starting to pick off these reactors. Such important buildings for the Terran right now. And Trimaster is just on the defensive 100% here.
Anytime a Zerg player crushes the entire Terran Bio Ball, it's always a safe time to grab not as many hatcheries as you want, but grabbing 2 or 3 right in this situation, I think is totally safe. And those Mutalisks picking off a tech lab or reactor here or there, that's going to hinder the production of Trimaster by so much, man. And right now, Trimaster needs everything for him if he wants to stay in this game. I like how he's getting a Thor out, and this is going to prevent those Mutalisks from clumping together and sniping out tanks, sniping out production facilities. A couple of Mutalisks now flying in, a lot of Mutalisks flying in, picking off a few Marines, but they are going to fall back for now.
Yep, and right now, Trimaster just needs to really focus on hunkering down, trying to remax, getting those upgrades going. He actually stopped for quite a while. He does have +3 attack on the way now. Still hasn't invested in that second engineering bay, and I feel like this late in the game, wow, that Mutalisk pack is getting unmanageable. They're starting to pick off units left and right. There is one Thor out. That's really going to help deal with these Mutas, but he needs to have it in the proper position ahead of time.
Oh my god, look at this drop. Pingers are everything flooding into the main. Once again, going for the heart of the Terran facilities. All the production is going to get wiped out here.
Oh, he leaves the tanks wide open at the gold. The Mutalisks are picking off all the siege tanks right now. He's also going to be able to take out this Thor. Very, very good moves from Spanishiwa right now. Just killed virtually all the mech.
He could lose all of his Mutalisks, so he's not paying attention. A bunch of Mutas go down. Yes, he did wipe out the entire production facility of Trimaster, but Trimaster's also dropping the main right now, but that is going to be repelled away by the Banelings. And once again, Spanishiwa doing a lot of damage, but he did lose a large block of Mutas.
These 3 medevacs are going to get picked off on their way back. 2 of those were full. And the infrastructure right now for Trimaster just in absolute tatters. I don't think he's in a good situation at all. Spanishiwa has full map control right now. He's about to finish Pathogen Glands, going to start bringing Infestors into play. Supplies now at 159, 165 to 98. And Trimaster holding on for dear life right now. He's making whatever he can out of whatever buildings are remaining. He lost a ton of supply depots right there. His overall cap supply at 100 right now, so he needs to rebuild all of those depots.
Yeah, it's never a situation you want to be in as a Terran player. Really going to hinder his production for a very long time. And look at Spanishiwa right now going into Greater Spire. He's about to end this game with Brood Lords, and there's no starports on the field right now. That means there's not going to be a single Viking out, no Ghost Academy, so you really don't have any of the options that Terran really has to deal with Brood Lords. And honestly, man, when the Brood Lords come into play, that could be all she wrote for Trimaster.
It could be all she wrote for Trimaster before then if Spanishiwa decides to make his move, and it looks like he might do just that. Swarming in from all angles. Great position right now for Trimaster, though, but as soon as those Banelings get in there to clean up that Marine line, I don't see him holding this off at all. He's falling back to the depths of his natural right now. Some Banelings going to work their way in there and clean up the rest of these Marines, and he's losing his last remaining barracks. That's all he has left to produce units in. As soon as those fall, he doesn't really have any.
And there's the GG. Vile Spanishiwa taking the game against Complexity's Trimaster.